Black Panther 2's Wakanda Forever trailer is here, dropped this weekend, and recast T'Challa. Next up on Just to Talk. So, let's talk about it. And welcome to the Flicks, Picks, and the Nitpicks. And I am your humble host, Snoke718. We are going to get right into this because Black Panther 2 Wakanda Forever just dropped the trailer. And I'm going to be real with you. Can I be real with you? I like the trailer a lot. But watching that trailer is fuego because it sets up a lot of things in the background that I find very fascinating. One of the biggest things I really wanted to do was see what they would do with Aquaman in DC and how they would approach it in a world where Man of Steel existed, because they treated it like such a sci-fi drama that when I was following what Zack Snyder was doing with the filming of the Atlantis scenes, I was just curious to know where he would go with it. He wanted to make air pockets so they could speak, even though the director of the actual film threw all of that out there. So you know what, F it, they're underwater. They talk underwater. It may not make sense, but I'm not gonna try and figure that out logistically. Which again, everybody has their interpretations. But my thing was how they were gonna represent it to make it look realistic, and that's what, if you ask me, and I don't want to say failed because I still really like the world of Aquaman, but I was really curious to how they could kind of really ground Atlantis, underworld, underwater civilization. Here in Wakanda Forever, I really think we're gonna have the best depiction of that. Oh yeah, I said that. The reason being is because the deep water submerged shots just looks gorgeous. I love the shots where you see the Atlanteans riding on the side of the whales. Like, I really find that, especially, and it's a stroke of genius that they decided to use the Native American, Mayan, or Aztec culture as a precursor to Atlantis, which, I mean, you can make arguments that there's something there to that, but I'm not here to give any like historical and folklore type of thing. I like the idea that they wanted to go that direction. You know what I'm saying? Make the people of that environment racially make sense, and I think a Native American racial makeup makes a lot more sense aesthetically. Especially when we have Wakanda, we should have something like that for Native American, Mexican culture. I think that's a dope way of doing it to make it more realistic in the world. Especially since Marvel has gone so far out the way of doing a lot of extraordinary things and storytelling that is so refreshing that they decided to like really inject that type of aesthetic and storytelling to it. And I love the costumes. Like I see me falling in love with the conceptual art of this film, especially surrounding just Samaritan. We're going to get into the costume designs another day where I'll do a breakdown, and you're going to find out that I have a deep appreciation for the thought process that went into going for this aesthetic for the Atlanteans. That said, now I want to really talk about the Black Panther trailer, everything Black Panther. And look, man, we're gonna just get right to it because Angela Bassett looked like she's gonna be a scene stealer. She's gonna be the scene stealer. She's gonna have monologues and moments that I really feel like it's gonna be pertinent. I think she's gonna be. They're gonna exercise what they got with having her, a credible actress, legend, living legend, and looks amazing at her age. Amazing at her age. I think Angela Bassett is like in her 60s, you know, and she looks phenomenal in the role as a character. She carries the presence, the gravitas, everything that we would expect a woman of stature that headed like the most powerful nation on earth. I really feel like we're gonna get something very special in a lot of credible moments. Now let's get right to Letitia Wright. Her hairdo looks like she's supposed to be I don't know why I gotta bring it up, but they gave her a cut that was Riri Williams' cut. But okay, Riri Williams does get a shot in this. Again, it's weird. They could have just gave her the haircut that she has in a comic, so she look a little bit more aesthetically like the book, since we're going way off the rails. Now, I do got some concerns because I don't need Riri Williams in a Black Panther movie. Why? Because she's a black character. I don't know. I feel like she should be not in this movie. Like, why? Because she's a black woman. Like, I don't understand that, but whatever. The Dora Milaje look like that they're gonna have some impactful moments, but what gets lost in all of this is the Black Panther nowhere to be seen in this movie because, and I'm gonna make one directly focus on this, Wakanda Forever is not Black Panther 2. I don't think it is. I think this is the precursor. This is more like Namor's origin and a story in Wakanda, which I think they were coining to do. They wanted to do stuff in the world of Wakanda, exploring the Dora Milaje, perhaps warriors of that time in their world, the heroes and villains of the world of Wakanda. I mean, I think those could be fascinating things to explore, to have Wakanda have its own universe, if you will. I mean, it would sell well for tickets to Disneyland to go to Wakanda. So I think that this could work in that respect. But we still don't have T'Challa. And I think that's what's so lost. Even though Chadwick Boseman's presence is paramount throughout the trailer, or it's more in the fact that the lack of him is paramount throughout the trailer, that it's no longer a Black Panther movie, it's a Wakanda Forever film, a Wakanda movie, which kind of is disappointing because I feel like T'Challa was a bold character, robust enough that we could have told a lot of interesting stories and even elevated his comic book status. Now, we already know that the rumor around the mill, which might not even be much of a rumor, is that Nakia will somehow let it be known that Chadwick and her had a child. And I'm assuming that the child's going to be far enough in age that he can show up in a Young Avengers film. And they'll probably have M'Baku wear the Panther's suit. I don't know. I'm not interested in seeing anybody but T'Challa in the suit. I had concerns with Shuri becoming the Black Panther because they never crafted the character to be a warrior at least not leaning on that. They leaned more on her being a tech. That's why when everything happened in the first Black Panther movie, she didn't just rise to the occasion and show that she was actually a physical person to reckon with. There was none of that. There was no hint of that she studied. I mean, other than her being royalty and being the Panther's little sister, I expected to have some sort of training. But she wasn't prepared for when shit hit the fan. So how does she take it up? And even though the comic shows the true validity of her being able to wear the costume, we haven't given Shuri that story trial. And I think without a T'Challa to give her that trial, so like let's say they give Black Panther a trilogy, she could get a trilogy onto herself, if not one movie by herself as the Black Panther. That would be dope. But we needed T'Challa's story to be told in full effect, and losing sight of that, losing a core character like that, really kind of diminishes anything else you want to do with the titleship of Black Panther moving forward. It seems so interchangeable so suddenly and so easily that it makes no Panther will feel special onto itself when it was a title already carried through. T'Challa's story as the Panther was always at the forefront and at the front lobe. This could open up a lot of gates for people to argue and a lot of kind of questions about like the MCU. But the funny thing is those guys won't touch this film. I find that fascinating. It seems like they're okay with T'Challa being dead here, but they don't argue it up like they would have argued it any other character had they chose to do that too. Keep that in mind for those that are not consistent, always crying about that. Why don't you touch this movie? There's more than enough conspiracy theories around it, so why won't you play with it? Because these guys, they show their hand, but I don't want to get too lost in the sauce on that, because at the end of the day, there is something to be said about the removing of the only black male's character of significance that didn't carry somebody else's title like he is Black Panther. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why moving forward you would not want to make sure that you preserve this character who hasn't had a chance to get his fully developed arc out there, so we can know this character, so he can actually ascend to the level of all the other characters. Especially that's all throughout MCU. They're being elevated far past where they were visible at in the comic books, because some of these characters were names in the comics, of course, not as huge, but this could be the elevation they need, the exposure they need on a bigger scale to let people know like this is a fixative of superheroes and you need to know who this character is. And unfortunately, now they're really pushing to make that the identity of the Black Panther to be so separate from the Panther itself. And we already know, those reading it, yeah, it's a title, but Black Panther's T'Challa. Everybody knew that. Yeah, Shuri did it. I think M'Baku did it once before. It don't matter. Eric Killmonger has worn the suit and carried the title, but we all know who the F Black Panther is. It's T'Challa. And I think it's very important that we build that character up for what it should be, as opposed to just disregarding it because something so tragic happened to the actor that was playing it. These characters are a lot larger than the actor, and I think even Chadwick Boseman would have wanted to see this character thrive, especially for its meaning and value to a lot of people that's never seen a character like that made in their own image. It's just an unheard of. But this is also the reason why I tell people you gotta start supporting your own characters. These characters, dudes that's out here creating characters, that you're gonna have to start looking outside of these controlled forms where we don't control the characters. And what I mean by we, obviously we're not the creators, but when I say we, as fans, we can't control these characters. All we can do is hope that the creators created characters that can stand the test of time like all other characters can. And you have a good character, one of the best ways to make sure it stays and it can surpass the times that we're in is to be consistent to who these characters are in a very real and natural way. And the moment we start interchanging their personalities or swapping them out and it doesn't seem important, then these characters will never be that of legacies. Because anybody could have been these characters. These IPs aren't branding themselves. And one of the ways to brand a character is to brand a character that is brand the character. And unfortunately, we were just about to brand T'Challa and we lost the actor that played him. And we could continue to push the character forward. But now the question is will people really be interested in seeing somebody outside of Chadwick Boseman play the character? And you got some people saying that they are. They wasn't willing to see anybody else in the role, which is sad because this is a very rich character that actually is the first mainstream black superhero, and he's straight up African. And now that the actor that played him dies, his story is done. The character story is done, and that comes at a huge blow to a character that has over 50 years of legacy and history. It's just not fair for the character, just like it wasn't fair for the actor playing it for him to just pass. But what can we do? And we've listened, and there's a guy that has a whole channel, and just type in recast T'Challa and he will come up. His name is E-Man. I feel like I'm comfortable to say his name. I don't like get caught up in a lot of YouTubers or what other YouTubers do, but I do feel like to get part of the conversation, you need to at least know where the leaders in that movement are, and he is pretty much the leader of that movement, at least on paper. And I do think that he does raise a lot of significant questions if you want to bring in social commentary to about how black people are treated in the real world, to see how this character is so easily disregarded, and let's just recast them as if we don't see the cultural impact and you're willing to take it away knowing that. And there's something to be said about that, man. And I'm a guy that I feel like this is why black people should go and support and creators that are creating these characters from a very natural standpoint that will not waver and bend, but will make sure that these characters, their personality traits and things of that nature are preserved, and carefully so, to give real earnest life to characters that come out in a very more organic way, because someone just had a great idea of a character and the character happened to be black, of color, whatever the verbiage you want to use. And now, even in a situation like this now, because Marvel controls these characters, what the fans want, quote unquote, they won't necessarily get. And it's their property to do. And it's up to us to see if we like the idea and the concept and the direction that they want to go. I feel like no matter what I like out of this film, I would always feel like they should have just recasted T'Challa, because T'Challa, we lose too much of his history, too much character development and his interactions with other characters that have yet to have been in the MCU. Will never have that opportunity for a proper T'Challa to meet Fantastic Four, to meet a lot of these other characters that are just coming in, to meet Storm, or rather see her again if they actually want to play the fact that they had a past way back when. Will we even be able to do that? I doubt it, because we no longer have a T'Challa to explore the rest of his stories, his love stories, his highs, his lows, his growth as an individual, and his place on the Avenger team. It's just a shame that we're going to lose out so much character building and stuff like that for something that no one could have done anything about. Chadwick Boseman passing. But one thing we could have was to allow his character to live on. And we chose not to. And even though the trailer looks great, it looks dope, It's easy to be excited about it because the music selection and everything and the visuals and the shots that they had and they chose. But my main thing watching it was always who caught my eye? Namor. And Namor shouldn't be the guy that captures all my attention out of a Black Panther movie. That's why I don't look at this and consider it Black Panther 2. But what do you guys consider it? Do you guys consider it Black Panther 2? Are you excited about seeing this? Are you mad that they actually went this way? One thing that we can be certain of is that they are doubling down. I know that E-Man said this could still happen between the blip, and it's possible. I thought his idea of making this film sit there would have been superb, but it doesn't seem like it from the hints from the trailer. But we never know until we start hearing a lot more where this fits in a chronology of the MCU. And again, I hope this is before the blip, but I highly doubt it, because if I'm not mistaken, Shuri disappeared during the blip too. It's possible. Now, Riri Williams is going to be interesting because she wears her Mach 1 suit. It's unfortunate she lost the relationship that she should have had with Tony Stark. Maybe she creates the AI and we can see Tony Stark in that kind of capacity. It's very possible. But we're losing sight of the real rich drama that comes from these characters. Again, I'm excited to see what this, because the trailer looks dope. But I'm really disappointed that there is no T'Challa to further the story of the Black Panther and Wakanda's history. The trailer is still dope. The cinematography is gorgeous. Some of the shots, and again, in sync with the film. Everything just made a beautiful marriage to give you something visually appealing for the screen. And all you needed was to see T'Challa, or Shuri, the new Black Panther, pop their claws, and that was a good way to close out. We could pack this up and go home, baby. But again, I'm not excited. Still not excited. I look forward to another trailer that really fleshes out the actual story, and hopefully there's some optimism and possibilities there. But I'm not gonna hold my breath. I think the MCU will stand firm on this. Is it possible down the line you could snatch another Black Panther from another timeline or place in the theory of multiple Earths, the multiverse theory? But that's also another alternative. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think people should continue pushing the cast T'Challa? Do you think that it's all over, let's pack it up and go home and accept it for what it is? I still will push it and push the hashtag far after the movie's done, because I don't feel like I'll change any less. But hopefully the studio out there will decide, because we don't need kid heroes coming out of the Black Panther now. We need grown heroes that have been around. And I think T'Challa, as a king, a leader, he was an interesting enough character that I think that he would have been the one. And unfortunately, now that art may have to imitate life, as so it would seem, he will die off camera. And how I feel about it personally is that's the story. But it's a poor choice of a story point. I think we could have just continued the story with T'Challa. But that's just my thoughts. Let me know in the comments section what you guys think. Do you think I have anything to contribute to this conversation, especially with regards to how the trailer looks? Because I still think the trailer looks great. It's a gorgeous trailer. I'm just very disappointed that we won't carry T'Challa's story further. But I think that's what the biggest issue is with everybody in this space is. But let me know, you guys in your spaces, what you guys have been discussing since they dropped the trailer. Are you excited? Or do you have trepidations? Or you have any trepidations like mine or completely different? Please leave in the comments below, because this is where we get to talk, and it's all just to talk. You already know what it is. Like, share, subscribe. See you next time. And as always, till I have a better outro. Chill.